we actually don't really mind at all if you as the customer come after the first day on the job site and say, hey, listen, I'm not really happy with this. This is not quite the level of patching that I was expecting.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Exceptional Painting Podcast. My name is Tanner.
My name is Mihai, and today we're going to be talking on how to best prepare your home for a professional paint job.
And we're going to break this down into a couple of different parts. First part being pre-consultation. So that's where you're going to contact a contractor to have your house painted. Then we're going to have a second part where we talk about, okay, so you've decided to go with a contractor. How do you get your home ready for the contractor to come in and start working on your home?
We found that it's very important to, when the customer knows exactly what's going on and they know what to do to ensure that the project goes very smooth. And we found that when the customer does everything that, we ask them to do, or the painting contractor or another contractor ask them to prep the home, everything goes really smooth. There's no delays, there's no issues, just basically stress-free. Everybody knows what they have to do, and then you just go. So first of all, before you decide that you want to have your house painted, or you there's a thought in your head that, oh, maybe we should have our house painted, or we should have our cabinets, or whatever the project is, the best thing to do is just to really think through what you want done first. Like, what is the scope of work? Find out what areas you want to paint, find out the colors that you want to paint them, because sometimes it makes a difference whether it's light colors, whether it's dark colors. Darker colors are quite a bit harder to paint, and there's a lot more factors to consider, like natural light, and you might have to add some extender in the paint just to make sure that you get an even sheen. So if you're doing your cabinets, same thing. Do you want to add something to your cabinets? Is there maybe you want to change the crown molding? Maybe you want to change the doors. Maybe you want to change the hardware. Do you want one tone, one color cabinets? Do you want two-tone cabinets? All these things really, really matter. The same thing for exteriors or something else. What do I want to paint? Do I want to paint my soffits, fascia, doors, windows, the siding, brick, whatever you might have? So very, very important to have a plan first. Make sure that you know exactly what you want. It's going to be very easier to relate to your contractor, and the contractor is going to be able to really put that price more accurately and just prepare everything.
Yeah, and also really have a good look at all of your surfaces. If you are thinking of having the baseboards done, the doors, if you're trying to isolate one area specifically, let's say you're like, I'm going to have my door frames done, but not the baseboards, really have a look at your baseboards, really have a look at your doors, because once you start to make one surface area look good, it's really going to highlight anything that's wrong with any of the other areas. So I just encourage people to really have a good look to make sure that you're not kind of left going, man, I should have had, I should have had this done, or I should have had that done, and I didn't.
Yeah, probably a good rule would be just to make a list as well for any questions you might have for the contractor, because, chances are that whoever you're getting in there, you did your research, and they're a reputable company, and they might be able to guide you in the right direction. Whether, we get asked this very often. Oh, should I paint my ceiling? Well, what do? I leave it to your expert opinion. And I mean, I always tell people, if it's in good shape, then leave it. Why would you sink the money, right? But we'll be very honest, and any contractor you get should be very honest. And if it needs it, then put it to the work order, because ultimately you want to deliver a really good result. But if it doesn't need it, then
Yeah, and have a look at the cut lines too, because a lot of times people go, my ceilings are fine, but then you've got like a 1/4 inch of cut lines from the previous painter, and the new painter is not going to necessarily be able to cover those up. So,
well, they could, but they might not want to, right? Because then their lines are going to be on the ceiling, and it doesn't look professional. So again, all those things, make a list, make a list of questions with anything that you're maybe not sure or confused, or you need more clarification, and the contractor should be able to help. So that would be pre-consultation, pre-quote preparation. After you got your quote and you know the price, and you have decided which painting contractor you're gonna go with, what's the next steps?
So you've got your date and everything, and they're showing up soon. You want to make sure that any area that you are having painted is clear of any furniture, because obviously contractors need to work within that space. You're going to have to be able to place a ladder.
I think it depends on which contractor you're getting, because I know there are a couple contractors out there that they would move the furniture for you, right? So then I guess it's just a matter of clarifying with the contractor what's in the scope of work, who does that step, right? Make sure that that you know ahead of time what's required from you, and what are they gonna do? Because in our case, for example, we require that all the furniture be moved 3 feet away from any surfaces to be painted, and this is not a service that we offer, moving furniture, just because we're trying to limit any kind of liability and issues. That's usually when it happens, when you're trying to help somebody and you're just moving a heavy cabinet and you're just scratching the hardwood floors, or you're moving the fridge and there's a piece of glass stuck underneath, and that damaged the floor, like it's happened. So in extreme cases where, let's say, the customers are older, or they have mobility issues and they can't do it themselves and they can get somebody to do it, then we would do an exception and we would help them. Obviously, there's going to be an extra charge for it. But as a general rule, we do not move furniture. But some other contractors that you might get, they might be able to move it. So just be very clear on what's expected from you. But like Tanner said, just prepare your room. Make sure that, if it's very cluttered and it has a lot of furniture and a lot of things in it, try to move some of those things out. It's going to make the process so much easier. There's going to eliminate the risk of having anything damaged or broken.
If you have any valuables that are fragile, definitely move those out of the area, because we'll be careful, but things happen when you're operating with a paint pole and a sander
and then especially be very careful on items that have sentimental value and cannot be replaced, because if it's a TV or anything, or something that you can repurchase, that's it's doable.
If it's a wood carved eagle.
Yeah, if it's something that has sentimental value, that it's been passed down from generations to you, or maybe something that can be replaced, then make sure that you take that away from the area completely, just to ensure that there's no issues.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're also going to want to have a look at the surfaces that are being painted and check for grease. If there's a lot of dust, or if there's cobwebs or anything like that.
Yeah, especially when you move big pieces of furniture and couches and stuff, places where you don't normally clean, or you don't have easy access. Just make sure that you give it a quick sweep or a vacuum or something, just to make everything better. I mean,
especially if you have pets.
Yeah, especially if it's hair. A painting contractor should normally clean the surfaces that before painting, but I mean, sometimes it's a little bit excessive, and nobody really wants to clean somebody else's mess, right?
Exactly. So, yeah. And then if there is dust and fur and stuff like that underneath, and you move the furniture and you leave it, it's always possible that's going to end up in your paint job after. So, we can avoid that. If
that would be the case, we would clean that before, right? But it's just it's nicer when it's clean, and the guys and the girls really appreciate it when they get into a clean home, and they some people have allergies to different things and animals, and if it's not very fun to deal with. So there would be cleaning, remove any curtains, remove any window treatments if you are getting the windows painted, if you have any paintings on the walls, or any kind of masks or ornamental things, remove those. We should probably talk about, do I keep the nails in? Do I take them out? That's a pretty big debate usually, and everybody's very confused. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so our policy is anything that you are going to be keeping, just leave the nail in. Any hole that you want to be filled, take the nail out and we'll fill it. It just makes it so much simpler, right? If there's a nail there, we don't. If there isn't one, we do. Right?
Yes, so otherwise it makes it confusing, right? Which one do we keep, which one we don't? So if we find any hole, we'll fix it, we'll fill it up. If it's a nail, then we'll leave it. We still want to confirm with you when we start the project, just because maybe you did miss one that you maybe don't want. Or alternatively, if you want to start fresh, maybe you just purchased a new home and you want to have everything filled. You don't have to go and remove everything. Just let us know. Just take everything out and fill it. We can do that for you.
And if you're going to be putting up new curtain rods, think about that beforehand too. Because a lot of times we'll show up and it's like, okay, so are we filling these holes or not? Oh, I don't know.
Yes. Same thing if you have TV mounts, like wall mounts or stuff like that, that again, maybe you purchased a new home and the previous owners left it there. Think about all those things. Talk to your contractor in advance and let them know, because it's going to make a nicer job. And it's a little bit harder if the room has been painted and then at the end you're coming back and,
I'd like those filled.
Yeah, I like those filled. It's doable, but then it puts a little bit more strain into the contractor's timeline, and the result might not look the same. The best results you get when everything is done in order that they should be done, and they have the proper time to dry and all that stuff. So we talked about clearing all the items. We talked about furniture. We talked about cleanliness. The other thing that I can think of, it would be electronics. Right?
Yeah.
Like TVs, sound systems and things, because sometimes they're connecting through wiring.
Yes.
And sometimes modem. They're done by a professional company, right? So we don't really want to have to move anything and mess something up. So please have a plan for those ahead of time. Now, there's a couple other things that you might want to consider communicating with your contractor before. Like parking would be a big one. Can the contractor park in your driveway? If so, is there a side that works best for you so it doesn't interfere too much with you? Can we park on the street? Is there another area where we can park? Sometimes if it's an apartment building, then just coordinate the visitor parking and all that stuff.
Yeah, and this is extremely important for jobs that are going to be lasting a long time, because it is going to disrupt your daily schedule. You know, like if you're going to work just after the painters leave after the painters get there, and they're parked where you need to get out, or you know what I mean? Just little things like that.
That too. Sometimes it could be, maybe you have a delivery, or maybe you just move into a new home and you got a moving truck coming in.
Yeah.
I can speak for other contractors, what they do, but for us, we're very aware of that, and we definitely don't want to inconvenience more than we already are by just disrupting everything in your home. So that's one of the things. Another one would be just communicate with your contractor what would be the best door to come in and out. Is there a back door, a side door that might be more convenient if you don't want them going through your front door? Is there a door that you can bring the tools that might disrupt less, or things like that? I think that's very important to clarify that. Another one would be, you're gonna have strangers in your home, basically, right? Maybe you don't want them to use a toilet that you're using every day. Maybe you have a service toilet or a spare toilet. So just maybe set something up for the people. They are humans after all. They do need to use these services. If you're there for 8 hours a day, just have something set up for them. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be a place where you can do your thing and wash your hands at the end. And pretty simple.
And then you also want to delegate an area for washing brushes and tools and things like that, because that's going to be happening, obviously. So something to think about as well, and communicate that to your contractor.
And if you do live on a lake, or you're on an area with a septic tank and stuff, just make sure that you mention that to your contractor, because definitely nobody should be washing any paint, any brushes, nothing there, because definitely don't want to disrupt those happy bacteria in there from doing their thing. Your contractor should communicate all these things with you, or should have a discussions about these things with you. From our side, about a month before we start the project, we do send to our customers a form that pretty much includes all these things. It's that's how the customer communicates the colors with us. We call it our project logistics and color form. So we got a few lines on the top where you can communicate what color you selected, where does it go, the sheen and all that stuff. But there was also these questions: where can we park? Is there somebody home to let us in? If not, what's the code to the garage or stuff like this? What's going to happen with the pets? Which washroom can we use? Where can we clean tools, if anywhere? Because I mean, we have customers where they don't want us to clean anything in there, right? So then we just bring everything back to the shop and we clean it. What other questions do we have in there?
Can we put a yard sign up?
Yes, can we put a yard sign? We like to get acceptance about absolutely anything that's happening on your property and just have clarification before, right? Because I think this is very important and it just shows a lot of respect towards the customers and towards their properties. Because you just put yourself in the customer's shoes. You're going to have a bunch of people coming out in your house, around your house, just disrupting everything. You wanna, you'd like to.
You want to respect their space.
Yes, for sure. So
make them feel comfortable.
Now we should probably talk a little bit after the job is done. So you had painters in your home, they painted everything. What's the next steps? Like, how soon can you put your furniture back? Can you sleep in the areas where you painted?
Right. So I think for us, we're using the low VOC or zero VOC.
Zero VOC, yes.
Which means that there's no toxic fumes or anything like that. So, and then the other thing about it is it dries very quickly.
Yes.
So, a few hours usually is good. I think that it doesn't cure immediately, but it's definitely dry. So you can start to move furniture back. Just be careful and it should be fine. And then
so usually if we paint a bedroom and let's say we finish it by like 3 o'clock, I would say by 7 o'clock in the evening you should be okay to put everything back. Like Tanner mentioned, just be very careful, with the walls. Maybe put them back, but just leave a little bit more room from the walls and just be careful not to scuff anything. The paint is dry, but it can take anywhere between 7 to 14 days to cure, depending on humidity, type of product that's used, how the heat and all those other elements. So, but maybe open a window if it's summer or something. Like Tanner mentioned, there's zero VOC, there's no harmful chemicals, but it's still off-gassing, right? It still dries by air. You might want to just get some fresh air in there just to have a good night's sleep.
If it's the middle of the winter, maybe not.
Maybe not, yeah. That's probably not a good idea.
But in the summertime, you can open up the windows. I'm sure that'll help. And then at the end of your job, you also want to make sure that you're walking through with the contractor to make sure that everything is done.
It's done properly, I should say. It might be done, but
done properly.
Maybe you'll see some stuff.
Yeah, it'll give you peace of mind. It'll give them peace of mind because I'm sure, any contractor is not going to want to leave the job and wonder, did this meet your standards? Are you happy? Right? So do that final walkthrough, make sure everything is good. And that way it's like, if there is anything that's not done properly, you can fix it right then and there before they leave the site and clean up all their tools. So that's something I would definitely...
things happen, right? We're all humans, and any painting contractor you might have in your home, no matter how good, they're still humans. They make mistakes. We make mistakes sometimes. Maybe, you're not paying attention to something and you're missing a spot in between a door frame and a corner where it's very tiny in a bathroom somewhere. You never know, right? Things happen. So we do like to do a walkthrough. We inform the customer before we finish the job ahead of time, just to make sure that they can coordinate with their schedules and meet with either myself or Tanner or whoever the project manager is for the job. And then we go room by room. We look at everything. We look with our eyes, with our level of detail and everything. And then the customer looks from their side. And we just try to make sure that, you're satisfied. And then in our case, we want to make sure that we're satisfied, because I think a good paint job starts with you being happy with what you delivered and the product that you put up. And this is what we teach all our painters, that take ownership and take pride in what you're doing. And before we do this walkthrough, pretty much every single team member that we have probably did one at least or two walkthroughs on their own around the areas they finish, just to make sure that that everything's done. But then again, sometimes things get missed. Maybe there was not enough light in there, and now all of a sudden the sun is shining in the room, and that helps a lot.
And this I think might be a helpful thing to do is, as the job is going on, to take a look around and see that things are getting done the way that you asked.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that, you're going to start to necessarily point things out. But if you notice something that isn't going the way that it should, then you could always mention that, and that'll help steer the direction, of the project. So.
I mean, we prefer that, right? And I think anybody would prefer that, because everybody has different levels of expectations. We try to kind of talk to the customer before and set up those expectations. But maybe other contractors don't do that. Or maybe I talk with the customer and maybe they don't really understand my English or what I want to say. And maybe they understand something else. I mean something different. So then it's very nice to know we actually don't really mind at all if you as the customer come after the first day on the job site and say, hey, listen, I'm not really happy with this. This is not quite the level of patching that I was expecting. Or, I got, I don't know, whatever. Maybe
could be anything.
Could be anything.
You painted this wall the wrong color. I mean, things happen, right?
Yeah, we really want you to be happy at the end of the job, and I think that should be at the center of any contractor, right? Just make the customer happy and just deliver the product that the customer was expecting. One thing that we forgot to mention, after you get the price and you get a contractor and you got a date and everything, one important thing to consider is the sequence of your job. Like, which rooms do you want done first? Which area?
Right.
Especially when you're painting the whole home, you want to make sure that you get some space for yourself to live in while this is done. So if we're doing both level of your homes, maybe keep the rec room downstairs for yourself and a bedroom at least to have some livable space, and then have the painters go in all the other ones. When they finish those, then you just do a swap and you move in the freshly painted areas, and the painters can go in the other area. Same thing if there's any areas that have priority. Let's say you have an office that you're working from home and you really need it by the end of the day. Maybe you have a day off today, but tomorrow you're getting back to work. Make sure you mention these things so priority can be put on those and finish them ahead of time. Or maybe you have kids coming home from somewhere or whatever that might be. Just communicate that with your contractor and make sure that you can get back to your normal schedule as soon as possible, and it doesn't interfere with your day-to-days too much.
And you may also want to set a time frame for people. I know, like for us, we've got our 8:30 to 4:30, and we do that so that people have their evenings. But other contractors might be willing to work later, and maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to have your dinner time with your family and whatever. So that's something that I would definitely communicate with your contractors as well, because I think some of them may work late to try and get a job done or whatever, or maybe that's just their work schedule, so I think that's important too. So
your job is done. You did your walkthrough. You're getting ready to put your house together. Some important things that you want to clarify with the contractor is, are they going to leave any touch-up paint at your home? Maybe some tips on how you can touch up anything if it happens, and then also make sure you inquire about the warranty. Right, that's a big one. And what happens if something happens to the project? Maybe 1 month after the paint job was done, the paint starts peeling on a wall or on doors or something. What happens at that point? Is there a contact phone number or an email to call to make sure that somebody's coming to have a look and rectify the situation? And I think that pretty much concludes everything we wanted to talk about. If you found any value, if you have any other questions, whatever the reason might be, just like, comment, reach out to us with any questions, with any concerns. If you are looking to get a quote and we're one of those painting companies that you decided that it's it's a possibility that you want to work with us, then you can reach out anywhere. We'll be more than happy to come give you a quote.
All right, thanks. Have a great day.